Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Think Business. Looking forward to talking with Sidney Tarver. Sidney, it's great to connect with you. You're the founder of People First Logistics Company. And I just want to read your bio for a minute because you're an experience. You played in the NFL. You got over 15 years of supply chain and logistics experience. And we're going to talk about a lot about entrepreneurship. So I'm looking forward to diving in with all of that. Sidney, I always like to kick off because I'm a business coach and I work with people all over the globe who are successful but stuck, and I work to get them unstuck. And so I love kicking everything off talking to entrepreneurs like you because I think people learn really well through stories. Where's a recent stuck point and how did you get unstuck?
A recent stuck point I had was moving on from an employee. When you start up your company, you think your main core guys are going to be with you forever, but unfortunately I had one of my main people turn into just a rotten apple,
Yeah.
just with negative energy bringing down the team. And the team was complaining. I was dragging my foot. Like, I saw some red flags, but I didn't have anybody to replace this person. So finally my team just started screaming louder and louder, and I just had to find somebody to come in, train them up real fast, and then fire that person. Like,
Yeah.
literally training and firing them in like a week, and it helped my company. It brought back the culture great. So moving on from people fast. Don't be attached to people if they're not what the team needs. Not being
Yeah.
afraid to move on.
That is so perfectly said. And it's amazing, Sydney. I go into a lot of companies where you can see the toxicness and the negative energy. It really has such a really bad ripple effect on so many people. Think community, we talk a lot about this on the show. Recruiting should be something that you're always doing, so you're never left in a position like Sydney's talking about, which many clients that I work with are, where they're feeling like they have to keep somebody. To me, whether you have somebody internally or you're always having a recruiter look for people, succession planning, and always having a bench of people, it takes, I would say, a minimum of 3 to 6 months to find great. And then you got to train them up. So make sure you are not in a position where you can't let somebody go, because what will ultimately happen, and Sidney, I don't know if you saw this, if you don't let that person go, the great people go, because you as a leader aren't protecting them and keeping them safe from the negativeness.
Absolutely,
Yeah.
100% right on the head.
Yeah. Yeah. Perfect. All right. Good. Thanks for that, Sidney. That was awesome. All right. Let's talk about entrepreneurialism. Let's talk about, I asked you before we went on there, what do you want to talk about? You said, let's talk about, entrepreneurialism and being an entrepreneur. So we're sitting here, we're recording this live September 8th, 2023. What does being an entrepreneur today mean?
To me, I mean, I always go back to just my sports background. Like, I've owned a business for 3 years and I still feel like I'm just like a rookie, like figuring it out. Every day is new, different, challenge. No problem is ever the same type deal. Yeah, you've seen patterns and stuff, but just when you think you're comfortable and getting good at it, a curveball comes out of nowhere and just you got to learn a whole new thing, or how to do something, or who to call to help you do this, or knowing who to call and figuring it out. So it's just
Right.
an everyday adventure to me. That's what entrepreneurship is to me, just a new adventure every day.
Yeah. And so let's talk about that. Let's talk about, how to respond to chaos and not react to chaos, right? So when new things happen and things fall that we're not expecting within the company, what's your kind of formula to kind of, respond to that as an entrepreneur and not react and just like, where things just kind of get get too emotional?
For me, I'm pretty even keel. I don't really panic, but I usually will reach out to somebody in my network and say, hey, how did you handle this issue in your company, or I'll consult somebody or figure it out. But usually I reach out for help because I know I don't know everything at all. So just looking for other professionals in the industry, trying to learn from their experience, seeing if they had similar issues, and then building a plan of action from there.
Yeah. I love it. Let's talk about that. I really want to connect it to your sports life too, right? You were in the NFL, and so what was that experience like?
NFL, I mean, that's your dream. You're literally playing football, 8 hours a day, practice meetings. People think it's tough practice. It's really more mental, sitting in the meeting room, studying your assignments, strategic thinking, planning, studying your opponent. That's kind of go hand in hand with business as
I was gonna
well.
say, yeah.
It's the same type of deal, man. Those guys are locked in 8 to 12 hours a day, first person in, last person leaving. The greats are Tom Brady. The great people are in there 16 hours a day, man. Those guys don't sleep, treat their body. They eat the best foods like business. They work out every day. You eat healthy, clean, and prepare. So when you get to the game, it's autopilot.
Yeah. What are you able to, let's talk about that, the mental game, right? So how do you kind of tap into the, the athlete within you in business, right? So, because I agree with you, sports, business, the mental game is sometimes 80-90% of it. And so how are you, think community, listen up, because, tapping into the mindset and the mentality of it all is so important.
Absolutely. People, you have to do, I would say, routine. You have to have some sort of routine. I'm not going to say everybody needs to wake up at 5 o'clock, but whatever you do to get your best peak performance, you need to do those tasks every day, whether it's working out, taking a shot of espresso, reading a book 30 minutes, meditating, whatever your practice is that kind of prepares you for the game day, prepares you quiet before the storm. You need to do those type of things every day.
Yeah.
And just build that mental muscle, just build that mindset. You're training the mind every day like you're in the gym, basically.
Yeah. Yeah. And so let's talk about that, mindset, meditation, etc. Do you have a more, I mean, coming from your athletic background and knowing it's mental, I think a lot of, when it comes to mindset and the mental aspect of sports or business, a lot of it is about internal quietness, right? And I think that starts a lot of times, I know for me, with a morning routine. How does it start for you, your day?
Absolutely. Gratitude. I start off with, when I wake up, write one thing that I'm grateful for the day. Then I go into meditation. Drink a lot of water right before I start the day. And then usually I get up on my computer and just start writing articles, typing to free my mind. I've kind of currently tweaked my schedule. First thing, I used to go work out, but I feel like that was in my flow hours when I was working out. So I pushed that to the afternoon, but at the end of the day, because I find that I get the most work done like in the morning to like 2 o'clock. And then after that, I'm no good for the rest of the day. I don't need to do anything else because I'm going to be so unfocused. Then I just go to the gym to blow off the steam. But kind of finding your best flow hours in the day is what has helped me. And you got to realize and play with things, tweak things. Don't be afraid to move things around if they're not moving for you, working for you.
Yeah. How did you find your flow?
Just reading a lot of books, but just paying attention, like where I feel the best working, doing the most work. And that's really the morning when I wake up. I usually don't try to wake up with an alarm clock, but I usually wake up between 4 and 6 o'clock somewhere every morning. I just shoot up and do that. I used to go to the gym at 10, but I don't do that because I was getting so much work done in those hours. I'm like, let me just keep this going.
Yeah.
Don't break it up by going to the gym, then try to come back and work. That don't work for me. So yeah, just tweaking with it, moving it around.
Yeah.
And then just, it's
finding
not one
your
set
space.
answer.
Yeah.
Exactly.
I love it. So, all right. So talk to me about your business. It's 3 years old. Talk to me about how you came up with the idea, and how you started it.
Well, I used to work for Amazon for 5 years in the logistics program. Then they offered their employees a chance to quit and partner with the company and do delivery services. So I was already working in the department for Amazon. So I quit. They gave me like 80,000 to start up and move to Buffalo, New York. So they helped fund my business. It was just a win-win situation. I was already doing it for Amazon. Then why not quit, partner with them, deliver the same freight? And that's how I've been going for the last 3 years in the business.
So Amazon actually, did they partner with you, or did they explain that to me again?
I have my own company, but I deliver their freight exclusively.
And they kind of helped you helped you build the business.
Yeah, it's pretty much like a franchise. You get to
Yeah,
use all their systems. So yeah, it's pretty much turnkey business. I
that's
just find
amazing.
the labor. Yeah.
Yeah. So let's talk about finding labor because that's hard today, right? Finding the right people, training, retaining, right? How do you kind of go about that? Because that's a full-time job.
Definitely full-time job. We
Yeah.
used to have it in-house, but I outsourced that to this virtual assistant company so they can focus on the hiring because that process is just, I mean, 7 days a week, 8 hours a day,
Yeah.
nonetheless, on the
Yeah.
phone, Indeed ads. So
Yeah.
I hired that to a full-time outsourced
That's
virtual
smart.
assistant. And
That's
then
smart.
that's how we don't have to think about it. They just sending us people after people and we screening them at the job location.
Yeah.
But you gotta turn that pipeline on and just keep it flowing
Yeah. Yeah.
365 days a year.
Yeah, I'm glad you said that because I shared that earlier, not knowing we kind of had the same thought process. But
Yeah.
think community, as Sidney's saying, and we talked about earlier, recruiting it's like it's an 8 hour a day, gig because to get through resumes and find the right people, it takes a long time. Yeah,
Absolutely. And they
yeah,
might not even show up for the interview. You might talk somebody and then they still might not come. Like
right,
it's
right,
crazy.
right. And that happens in every position, in every business, in every company. I hear that everywhere, Sidney. It's right.
Yeah.
It's wild. And even people who get the jobs, have great interviews, and just never show up. It's never show up. Yeah, yeah. I don't. It's such a mystery. Such a mystery. What go back 20 years, 30 years to a mentor that kind of planted a seed in you for your work ethic and your entrepreneurial spirit.
My earliest mentor, I would say, was this guy by the name of Dallas Joseph. I went to this private school in Chattanooga, Tennessee called Baylor. I just looked it up and it cost $64,000 a year to go for 1 year of high school. But my parents afforded me. We got financial. They ended up getting me in there somehow. But this guy, one of my best friends, his dad was the CFO at our school. And he used to take us and make us try new things, eat sushi, like all kind of crazy stuff when we were like 14,
Yeah,
using chopsticks, go to all these restaurants, giving us experiences, showing us how to handle ourselves as professionals. Dallas Joseph really showed me a lot of things. And still to this day, we talk all the time. I
yeah,
gotta go meet him in Mexico for his son's wedding next month. But he always wore suit and ties, just a really clean cut, polished
yeah.
business professional on his mind. Had real estate,
Yeah,
stocks. He just showed me the wide variety of investments and just
I love
business
it.
that was out in the world. So I
I would
love
love
that guy for
I
sure.
I love him too. Yeah, I love Dallas too. I would love to interview you and Dallas.
Okay.
I have another coaching company that's launching. It's a monthly coaching program only for 16 to 28-year-olds to give them that
Okay.
on a weekly basis. And that business is called Launch 3. And I have a business partner, and we'll have a podcast. But I'd love to interview. We want to interview, the use of the entrepreneurs like you with a mentor that they
Okay.
have. And so I would love it. We'll stay on after. That would be a lot of fun. Yeah,
Awesome. Awesome.
yeah, yeah. It's like sometimes we never know why we're learning things. And then all of a sudden it's kind of like, fast forward 20, 30 years, I'll say to myself, oh, that's what my dad meant, or that's what my business coach meant 20 years ago when I thought he was, nuts. You know
Yeah.
what I mean? Yeah. Yeah. It's great. Let's talk about a little bit about, the NFL a little bit more because I'm
Okay.
fascinated at that you are the top 0.01% of athletic ability to make it to the NFL, and then you're around all the other 0.0001s, just top elite athletes. And
Yeah.
so, what separates the 0.001% from the 1%?
I would say in athletics, you gotta it's more mental because I've met 1,000 guys that were bigger, stronger, faster than me, but they couldn't learn the playbook. They
Yeah,
couldn't come to meetings on time. They couldn't do the small stuff well enough to make it to the next level. They could score a touchdown with their eyes closed, but they couldn't do the everything else.
Yeah.
Go to the weight room. They couldn't make the meeting. They couldn't study, get the good grades in school. Like it's small, the small things you don't think about. Like the little things matter the most, literally.
Right. Like the discipline of the nuances.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. I love that. It's great. It's great. Let's do a quick speed round.
Okay.
A book, an article, or a TED Talk that's had an impact on you.
How to Win Friends and Influence People, Dale Carnegie, changed my life. Probably 5 years ago, 6 years ago, caught wind of that.
Yeah.
One of my favorite books. I try to visit it every year.
Yes.
It just opened my mind up because I'm not really a talkative, conversational guy, but that's really helped my business acumen.
Yeah, it's one of the best books ever. Right.
Yeah.
And it should be mandatory reading in middle school, high school, college, grad school, med school, law school, trade school.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Right. It should be a class. And I'm happy to teach it. Maybe you and I'll teach it somewhere.
For sure.
Right,
for sure.
Right. Yeah. Best piece of wisdom you've ever received.
Proximity is power.
Amen. What do you mean by that? I talk about proximity all the time, but what do you mean by that?
I mean, it simply comes down to your environment. If you around 5 negative people and you're a positive person, you good, the odds are against you. Those people are going to weigh you down, beat you down. I don't care how great of a person you think you are, but if you're around, 5 positive people, like-minded, nothing but greatness is going to come out that situation. So people, friends, family, if you're around negative, positive, bad people, no matter who it is the odds you become instantly harder to make it out of whatever situation, even if your mind's right. It's the odds are against you.
Yeah. All right. I love it. Last question. What is one thing that everybody can do to tap into their next level of 0.001 NFL discipline?
Extreme ownership and accountability. Whatever you tell yourself that you're going to do, you need to do that before you do anything for anybody else. If you say, I'm going to wake up, work out, meditate, whatever, you need to do that stuff and hold yourself accountable to your own word before you can. If you can't stay true to yourself, you're never going to make it far. If you can't hold yourself accountable to the things, the life, whatever it is you want to be in life, if you can't hold yourself accountable, you're not going to make it very far.
Amen. I loved every syllable you said today. Every syllable you said, Sidney. Tell people who your ideal clients are and how they can connect with you.
You can connect with me, young and up and coming entrepreneurs, people who want to get their feet wet into the business industry. You've been thinking about it. Come find me. You can reach me at thepeoplefirstcommunity.com. I have an online platform where I teach logistics, all kind of things, courses, blog articles to help you. So there I am, and Sidney P. Tarver on all social media. Sidney P. Tarver.
You're the greatest. Will you come every Wednesday on my Launch 3 platform for the 16 to 28-year-olds? We're going to have guest speakers. I'd love to have you as a guest speaker if you're open to it.
Absolutely. I would love the opportunity.
You're the man, Sidney. This was great. I'm so glad that somebody canceled today and you kind of got right in, I think yesterday or the day before. This was a great talk. Think Community, we talk a lot about a lot of the fundamentals that Sidney shared today. And Sidney, you just intuitively and just intrinsically brought them out. And I love everything that you shared. But I want to kind of extract one thing that that is really, really important. Make sure that you hold yourself accountable. Right. I talk about that a lot. And, how you show up for one thing is how you show up for most, if not all things. And so, self accountability is so important. And I'll just connect it to a morning routine and starting off with meditation and finding your flow. Everybody has their own flow. You can't copy anybody's exactly. You got to find your pace in the day. So this was great. Sidney, tell them one more time where they can connect with you.
Sidney P. Tarver on all social media platforms and thepeoplefirstcommunity.com. All right. That's where I'm at.
It's great. And you can reach me at johndwoskin.com if you want to talk about any business coaching. Think Community, thank you, Sidney. Stay on the line for a minute. This was great. Appreciate your time and appreciate your wisdom. Thanks so much.
Thank you for having me. I appreciate the opportunity.